birthplace?
Wasn't telling you because it was a surprise for your birthday.
Why was she telling you?
What do you mean? Why would I tell you where we're going?
No, I'm not saying like where we're going, but you obviously can hide other stuff.
He surprised her with tickets to Dubai for her birthday. This poor guy probably thought that he'd bought himself an entire weekend of her being nice to him. But while they're still at the airport, the magic had already worn off. She's already started an argument. If you can keep a secret about my birthday surprise, what other secrets are you keeping? Oof. Feels bad, man. Sometimes women are just projecting their own internal insecurities, but other times they're just looking to start an argument. Many women do this. They create an issue out of nothing because they're bored. They just want the excitement, the drama. Which of course makes no sense to men because mostly us guys, we just crave silence. We don't want an argument. We want stillness, peace. So as a man, when a woman comes at you yelling and screaming, wanting an argument, many men are completely lost. They don't know what to do.
Prove it! Prove it! There's email, there's text. You don't fucking talk to me, and that's the goddamn problem.
Do you want to know a sneaky way to shut down a woman who's coming at you like this? Imply that she's being masculine. We are employing some of the dark arts here, fair warning. But if you say something like, you are so aggressive, or you are so bossy, why are you being so confrontational, so combative? It's going to be very effective because women hate that. They instantly feel ashamed because the implication is that they're being masculine. And that contradicts the self-image that they have as somebody feminine. To be a woman is to be kind, to be graceful, to be soft and nurturing. This is the kind of person that she thinks that she is. And that's why it is so shaming for women to call them bossy or aggressive, to imply that they are masculine. They hate it. Nobody wants to be identified with the toxic elements of the other gender. You can use this against aggressive men too. Like if some douchebag guy is acting all tough and macho, yelling and throwing his weight around, you can really throw him off if you say something that implies that he's being feminine. Like, wow, you are so emotional. Let me know when you're done with your tantrum. It is deeply shaming. Men hate that. Imagine how you would feel if a woman accused you of being a drama queen or of throwing a hissy fit. Not good, right? Not comfortable? Well, that's how women feel when you imply that they are being masculine. And it is very effective at disarming a woman who's coming at you aggressively.
You can't video into the store. We're going to call the cops if you don't stop.
What, do you want to have a normal conversation before everybody gets upset?
We already tried to. Apparently it didn't happen.
No,
so
she came out.
Please remove these cameras off of my face.
Don't start getting in my face.
You cannot film me.
Sure I can.
You cannot film
Sure I can.
No,
I absolutely can. I absolutely can. Go back inside. Go in your store. You're the one confronting me, getting in my face. Just enjoy your day, man. Go back to selling your stuff.
But what we're asking
Corporate's not going to appreciate your behavior, I can assure you of that. Come on, man. You guys are being foolish.
Hi.
Yeah, go inside. That's a good idea.
Alexander.
And lighten up.
It's a very effective way of shaming women. Notice all of the phrases that he used to draw attention to the way that she's behaving. Do you want to have a normal conversation? Don't get in my face. You're the one confronting me. Enjoy your day. Corporate won't appreciate your behavior. Lighten up. With all of these phrases, he's communicating that she's not being a lady. She's not being feminine. The implication is that she's rude, hostile, and aggressive. No woman wants to think of herself in this manner. Every Karen denies that she's a Karen. That's why if you point directly to their lack of femininity, it terrifies them. Because you are pointing out something about them that they do not want to admit to themselves, which is that they are angry. Women have a very difficult relationship with anger. They frequently deny that they even have this emotion because they don't like its masculine connotations. And it's a really weird time in our culture at the moment because while on the one hand you've got women absolutely deeply committed to their denial that they ever get angry, at the same time there's never been a point in history ever before where women have felt so empowered to unleash their anger unfiltered on men. Every day we see more of it, yelling, screaming, rage directed against men who have to stay calm. The days of men physically asserting their boundaries, even defensively, like protecting himself against an aggressive woman, they're gone. To become physical with a woman, even defensively, is a massive source of shame, and women know it. And sensing that men are now impotent, women have become more and more emboldened to let loose their inner fury at men, knowing that there's not going to be consequences.
You need a permit to shoot off fireworks.
These are just poppers.
I don't care. Give them to me. I'm going to have to confiscate them.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Despite how they think of themselves, women do get angry. Everybody does. It is a human emotion and it serves a useful purpose. Anger is motivating. It gets you to take action, exert control. It makes you feel powerful. When this woman comes along and starts barking orders at a stranger, it is anger that she's feeling. It's releasing chemicals in her brain that's prompting her to get it done, to assert control. Often the emotion of anger comes up in response to fear, almost as a protection against fear. Being scared is not an empowering emotion. Makes you feel vulnerable and exposed. Anger asserts itself because at least then you feel in control. But deep down, these women who seem so angry, they're actually scared. But they don't want you to see that because that's going to make them feel even more vulnerable. They direct their anger at you specifically because they don't want to be the focus of attention. Do you remember in grade school when the bully would pick on the weak kid, taunting him, making fun of him? As an adult, looking back on the psychological dynamics that were playing out there, it's obvious what was occurring. The bully feels terrified, very insecure inside, but he doesn't want anybody to see that. So they find a weaker target and attack them, hoping that that's going to distract everybody's attention away from him and onto the weak kid. This is what is happening when a woman comes at you yelling, screaming, and wanting an argument. She wants the focus to be on you so that you have to explain yourself. You have to justify yourself. She's barking orders at you because she wants you to change your behavior. The best way to disarm her is to ignore what she's saying and name her emotions. Wow, you are so angry right now. You're clearly very upset. I can see that you're filled with rage at the moment. There's so much anger emanating from you. Women will hate that. When they are in that state, they do not want you to notice what they are feeling, let alone name it. If you do speak it out loud, then suddenly they feel naked, exposed, and vulnerable. Her intention was to scare you. She wanted you to be the focus of attention. That's her agenda. That's her frame. To make herself feel less scared by making you feel scared. Don't buy into it. Instead, point directly at the thing that she doesn't want you to notice and then watch her fall apart. Now, this is advice for how to deal with toxic women who are unjustifiably aggressive. Your Karens on the street, the female boss you have that likes throwing her weight around. Maybe your mum or your sister is a nasty woman and you need some means to protect yourself. So this is what you do. You name the emotions, you imply that she's being masculine, you shame her essentially, and that's how you assert your boundaries. But this same principle of naming emotions can be used compassionately. And you'll do that if connection is your goal rather than shame. But if so, then it's not anger that you should be naming, but fear, the emotion underneath the anger. Like if you have a good relationship with your wife or your girlfriend, you see her as a teammate, you're in love with her, and you don't want to shame her, you want to connect with her, but you see that she's getting really angry, really worked up. If you manage to stay calm and compassionate and say, sweetheart, you seem really scared at the moment. What's frightening you right now? You may at first encounter some initial resistance because anger as an emotion, it kind of has its own momentum. It's not going to stop straight away. But if you hold that masculine frame of, no, we're not going to have an argument, we're not going to fight with each other. I'm not going to respond to your anger with my own anger. What we're going to do is we're going to connect. So tell me, what are you scared of right now? Share with me how you're feeling. Not buying into her argument frame and instead being strongly assertive with your connection frame is extremely disarming for women. I cannot understate how powerful this experience is to the female mind. She's throwing her feminine chaos at you as hard as she possibly can, but you don't stoop down to her level. You remain above it, calm amidst her storm, and with laser-like precision and the intention to connect, you name the vulnerable emotion that she's feeling. When you do that, it will seem to her as though you have this incredible power to look inside her, to know what she is feeling even when she's not sure herself. This is very powerful. Women will melt from this because naming her emotion in this way and showing this leadership makes her feel very safe. But fair warning, this approach is only going to work with women who are generally pleasant to interact with, who do seek connection. She's just having a temporary slip up. Her emotions have got the best of her. There are many situations and many women that responding in this way does not make sense. If you approach her anger with your own compassion, it can actually be dangerous. First, if a woman's anger is this intense, now is not the time to be seeking connection. She's not capable of connecting to you. Hell, she's lost connection to her own self. She's like a demon possessed. Your first step needs to be to shut down the behavior. Only then is there any possibility of connection. If she's acting like this, then asking her about her fear is not going to help. She's so emotionally activated that you can't reason with her. If someone is acting like a child, it's okay to treat them like a child. Even a volatile emotion like shame can be a useful ally in helping someone become conscious of their behavior. Stop throwing a tantrum. This is not ladylike. Stop embarrassing yourself. Of course, then she'll up the ante and the tantrum gets worse and worse and worse. Shut it down. No. Stop. You need to stop. Get control of yourself. Yes, the language is shaming, but sometimes that's what's needed to wake somebody up to themselves. Honey, everybody is looking. You're making a scene and this is inappropriate. Stop it. Women really don't like when you point out that other people are watching her because women really like social approval. They're very conscious of how other people perceive them. Even if you're alone with her, invoking the presence of an imaginary third person can be very effective at shutting down her behavior. If my parents were here watching this scene, I don't think you'd speak to me this way. I wonder what your friends would think if they knew that you treated me like this. Shaming? Yes. Condescending? Yeah, and you could frame it as though you're being mean, but it's just as mean to let somebody continue to indulge a ridiculous tantrum. I would argue it's a greater kindness to help them wake up to themselves, because once she becomes self-conscious and the worst of her emotional possession becomes deactivated, that's when connection is possible, and then you can start to speak to her about her fear, and you can walk back your own intensity. I'm sorry if my language was harsh earlier, but your behavior really concerned me. I didn't know what to do. I can see that you're frightened, and I want to know what you're feeling. Please talk to me. Open up, share, connect with me. If she comes at you with like lots and lots of anger, she needs to hit this like a brick wall and she can't get any further. Then when she's calmed down, she starts to soften up, you can soften, then hopefully the two of you can connect. I do a lot of private consultations with you guys, and sorry to be harsh, but a lot of you just suck at arguing with women. You don't know what to do because you're out there arguing with women as though you're speaking to a man. But you're not. She's not a man. She's a woman. The biggest mistake I see is that men respond to women at the surface level, thinking that the argument isn't about her emotions, it's about whatever words she's speaking. And that if the man can just present his perspective logically enough, rationally enough, the whole thing is going to get resolved. But it's not. She's being irrational. That's the point. And if you think getting sucked into the specifics of whatever she's talking about is somehow going to de-escalate the situation, you're crazy. That's not how it works. The more you try and justify yourself to a woman, the longer the argument is going to go.
You need to move.
I need to move?
Yeah.
Come park wherever I want. It's a residence car park. Can park in any space, can't you?
No, because this is my spot.
It's not your spot. There's no designated spots, is there?
Do you even live here?
Yeah, do I?
How long have you lived here for?
For 4.5 years.
I've been here for 15 years.
Yeah.
This is my spot. Yes, they're not properly designated.
Does that have your name on it?
The residents around here understand that we each have taken space. This is my one. My neighbours take the ones next to me. So you can't be parked here.
But it's full down there.
That's not my problem.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. The interaction goes on and on like this. She says something, he responds. She asks him questions and he answers them. This man has to stop and think, wait a minute, did I consent to being interrogated? Do I care if she agrees with my answers? When it comes to you and your girlfriend or your wife, understand that she wants you to be a leader. If she starts an argument with you, it's because she's scared of her own feminine chaos. If you let her drag you down with her and you participate in that feminine chaos, she's going to be pissed with you. You're the man. You're meant to be above all of that. As a general rule, never argue with a woman. Neither of you can win if you participate. If she wins the argument, she still loses because she's stuck with a man who she can drag into one of her nonsense arguments. And if you win, you still lost by the mere fact that you participated. You're meant to be above that. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a discussion with a woman, a disagreement even, but the moment you sense that she's not interested in finding a solution and working together, she's interested in proving you wrong, if you participate in that discussion, you've lost. There is a basic standard that every single man must have. If you want to talk to me, you have to do so with kindness and respect. I will not accept anything less.
You know what is like a real man? Real men are providers, and they never throw into my face and list the things they do as a man.
Let me tell you what a real woman is. A real woman, an attractive woman, is one that's calm and gentle and not argumentative, angry, and bitchy.
So what you're doing with me then?
That's a good question.
Most of what I've talked about in this video shouldn't really be applied to romantic relationships, because you should have high enough standards that you don't tolerate being in a relationship with a woman who is aggressive or argumentative. One of the guys in my hero circle is always saying that much better than having the perfect strategy to dealing with a toxic woman is instead to just date a woman who never starts arguments. And he's exactly right. You don't have to date one of these aggressive masculine women. Find someone who's nice, who treats you kindly. I know that my videos often give explanations or strategies for how to deal with difficult women, but please do not let that be confused as though I am encouraging you to go and find one of these women so you can employ these strategies. Fuck no, life is short, life is precious. A toxic woman can make your life hell, it's not worth it. If you meet a nice girl and she makes your life better being in a relationship with her, all good, proceed. But if you're not meeting any women who meet that basic, simple standard, every woman you encounter you know is going to make your life more difficult, then stay single, enjoy your peace. I know a lot of you guys out there are scared to be alone, or maybe are worried that you're not quality enough of a man to attract a nice woman, and so therefore you're scared to raise your standards or hold women accountable. But let me tell you something as an absolute fact of reality: the universe will be happy to deliver to you no more than what you asked for. If, in the privacy of your own soul, in your own standards, you will tolerate disrespect and an argumentative woman, then that's what you're going to get. Your only chance of getting a woman better than that is by raising your standards. Time for some harsh words, but if you tolerate low quality behavior from women, you lose your right to say there are no good women out there, because how would you know? You're so busy swimming around in the muck that you can't see how clean the water is at the surface. And that's on you. Fucking raise your standards, boy. It's a sign that you should look for. If you are arguing with the woman that you're dating a lot, like actual arguments, then something's wrong. You need to make a change. You should not be arguing with women. But Alexander, is this realistic? I mean, after all, I'm a man. I start arguments sometimes. I'm not perfect, so women can't be perfect too. Like, we're human. We get aggressive sometimes. To a certain degree, that is true. As you try and merge two people's lives together, there's going to be some friction. It's going to boil over into some arguments sometimes. It's an unrealistic purity test to say otherwise. But what you need to know clearly inside your mind is when it tips over from normal to toxic. And you also need to be able to differentiate between a woman who is combative by nature and a woman who has temporarily lost control of her emotions, but that's not who she really is. That way you know whether or not the relationship is worth sticking through, or whether it's time to cut your losses, move on, and find somebody else. All of those questions I'm going to explore in depth in the full-length version of this video, which is available on Patreon.